got the cool phone cases.
Okay, Blockbuster.
Right, yeah.
Okay, 2002. Hi.
So since this is audio, would you mind stating your name so we can have those on our
Okay, I'm Juliana Canfield, and I play Beth Deville on Why the Last Man.
I'm Ben Schnetzer, and I play Yorick Brown on Why the Last Man.
I guess we'll just start with the very simple question here. Your relationship, do you have a relationship in real life with a monkey?
With a monkey?
Yeah.
You know, I have to be honest. When I first found out that Ampersand was going to be CG in the show, I was a little disappointed.
Yeah.
I was like, I was a little bit like, I don't really know. I was really looking forward to this being like this being part of the gig.
Absolutely.
And then very quickly after, I remember Eli Clark, our showrunner, broke the news to me. And she was like, just think for a second about what it would be like. Because I'd say maybe 9 out of 10 scenes, Ampersand's there with me somewhere.
Yeah, screeching.
Like, working with an actual primate. That, like, doing all those hours, I was like, oh, actually, it would be wild, and it would be a nightmare, and it would just be crazy. And, like, it would always be the takes that they would use. It would always be like, the monkey hit the mark, that's the take we're going to use, and obviously that'll be a take where you're like, dude. But our VFX team is so amazing on this show. Like, so amazing. And it's funny, I've had questions, people be like, is it the same monkey from Friends? And I'm like, it's a fake, it's CGI. And so, yeah, just shout out to them. They just did such a great job, Jesse and Steven. Yeah.
And I'm guessing those rats were also CGI. I'm just playing.
No, those were real.
Those
we
were real.
Up to Toronto from New York.
Clearly y'all filmed
Yeah, we just like, come on guys, we're going on a trip.
They brought in the rats to remind him why he shouldn't work with a monkey.
Right, yeah.
I have a question. So you guys this comes from a popular comic book series. Like, how familiar were you guys of this comic book, and have you dove deep into the book, and what have you taken from it?
Actually, take that.
Yeah, well, I'm not I've never read the comic books. Before I got the job, I never heard of it, and after I had heard of it, but I sort of did a little skim, and Beth in the comics looks and is very different from me, and I knew that her story was going to be different, and I thought it would be useful for me to do the project without any sort of preconceived notions about how we're different. But now that we've wrapped the first season, I do have it waiting at home for me, and I am going to read it.
It's a great read.
Yeah. I mean, everyone in my family read it, and they're like, oh my god, it's amazing. And I'm like, okay, wait. But what about you?
Yeah, I had heard of the graphic novel, but I hadn't read it until I got the job, and then dove into it. And it's like a particular dance you have to do when you are using source material as a resource, and but it always, for us, when you're doing an adaptation, it's got to begin and end with the material, like with the scripts that you're working with, and thankfully they were just so well written and so exciting, and so it's it's again a really fun resource to draw on, but yeah, the spine of the work is always the scripts that we're working with. Yeah.
So Ben, there's no pressure at all. Like, the titular last man, or embodying the titular last man, whether in the show or actually in our concept of the show. So what do you do to ground yourself? Where do you find humility as you approach something this big?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. I mean, again, going back to just reminding myself, as actors, we're just in service of this. We're just in service of the story, and as much as you're just trying to remind yourself that you're part of something that's way more important than you are, and kind of living in that. And this was such a strong community, this cast.
Yeah.
And I mean, we got close quick, but I think especially under these circumstances of COVID, really, I've never felt closer with a group of people. And again, when writing is really good, it's a lot easier to get out of your own way and to just be like, I'm friggin' lucky to be here. And I also have to say again, we shot this through a pandemic, so everybody was showing up to work, the crew, everyone, in the middle of COVID, and so people put a lot on the line, but also like it was never lost on us how lucky we were to also be working during this time, and it was just a really special experience. And like, I think as an actor, you have so little control over the finished product. You just got to be like, dude, I'm just fucking happy to be here, you know. So yeah, that was
Oh my God.
the long and short. Go ahead. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. With the overarching themes of gender and white supremacy, have you at all, has your perception or the way that you see those main themes changed personally after filming the first season?
You want to take it?
You go for it.
That's a really interesting question. I mean, it's sort of I wouldn't say it's a fantasy of mine, but you know, we've all thought about what would it be like if all these dudes just dropped it. But I think what the show reinforced for me was something I knew, but had never seen in practice, which is that we're all capable of upholding those systems of oppression, and a woman can hold up a patriarchy, and people of color can uphold white supremacist ideals. And watching that play out, you know, it's like the world has crumbled and everyone's trying to hold on to some semblance of normalcy, and those things include the things we're trying to break down. So that's what came out strongly to me. What about you, Benny boy?
Oh man, quite a question. You know, it's been, I don't know how to, where to begin. I don't know how views have changed, but I feel like things have, it's been quite an experience having these themes at the fore of discussion and showing it to work, being able to unpack these with people and ask a lot of questions of oneself and of the world we live in, and yeah, it's been a very meaningful experience for sure.
That's all the time we have. So
Thank you.
Mamma mia, thank you.
I had to, is this a Boondock Saints inspired tattoo?
Oh, what?
My brother's supposed
I'm
to get the other one.
The other one. Did he
Wait,
get it?
what? What is it a tattoo for?
How long have you had that one?
I've had this one for like 7 years.
And he hasn't gotten the other one yet?
What a win.
Dude.
We got questions.
You gotta get
That's
your-
right.
Maybe I'm, you know, I mean, seriously, I'm a fan. Everyone's
What's
phone cases are so
Veritas?
cool. It means truth in Latin.
Yeah.
But it's a Boondock, it references the movie Boondock
Oh,
Saints.
Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
Oh, no way. Very cool. Better go check it out.